Good evening. I'm Steve Lentini, and you've reached Steve Lentini Sales Leadership, the best getting better, close more sales more often. So tonight, what I want to do is, well, first let me tell you a little more about myself. I'm a published author. I have a book, in fact, coming out very shortly called Sales Success for the Rookie, How to Succeed at Sales Right from the Start. I'm a contributing author in a book called Imagine 30 Days to a New You. There's 29 authors, and Justin Sachs, who is the president of Motivational Press, contributing for a total of 30. And Motivational Press is my publisher of Sales Success for the Rookie. Upcoming, I have Sales Success for the Seasoned Veteran, How to Succeed, How to Stay at Peak Performance, How to Stay at Peak Performance. And I also have Sales Success for the Spiritual Salesperson. That's completed and just awaiting publishing. So I have Wake Up, Jump Into Your Life. So I have a total of 4 books and a contributing book, and I'm writing a new book, which is a novella, I call it, because it's based on fact and fiction. I weave fiction into it, and it's called Salespeople Do Go to Heaven. And I also have upcoming All in the Family Business. And it's about my 30 plus years in family businesses, working in them and around them, and contributing to them, and working in other businesses that involved only family businesses. And so I have 30 plus years of observing hundreds and hundreds of family businesses. And what are some of the challenges? What are some of the blocks? And what is some of the family gaga, I call it, the family mess and chaos that they actually bring into the business that affects productivity? So I'll be talking about that in the book. And I have former family business owners and family business owners that have already asked me to contribute, and other people who've worked with family businesses. So I'll be using their input, and it's really going to be a fascinating topic. And if you own a family business, you're going to want it, so that you know what not to do and what to do, what's worked and what's not worked. And my goal with it is so that family businesses can thrive and compete in this world of the internet and mega competitors and superstores. And we have a lot of ideas, and in the book we'll also give tips to keep that family chaos out, because it really stifles productivity and creativity of employees. So where family businesses have a lot of chaos and conflict, the family conflict that they bring into the business, what happens is employees just resist contributing. You don't get the best from them, because they feel like they're always going to be made wrong, that if it isn't one family member, then the other family member is making them wrong. And so I've heard the term favored employee, that one each in a business that was numerous family members all had their favorite, and that would cause a battle. And then things like the child consultant, where people that are immature are a friend of one of the owners, and they're making comments about the business that the owner actually takes serious, and brings the ideas into the business, and or makes changes based on the ideas of a 25-year-old who had no experience in the business. I mean, it's ludicrous. And it turned out rather badly. Okay, so today what I want to talk about is questions, number one, to get pain. And pain is really what you have to solve. You have to discover, are they motivated to make a move and to make a change? We'll talk a little bit about appointments and getting appointments, and we'll talk about attracting millennial salespeople. So a lot of mature businesses are having challenges attracting millennial salespeople, people in their 20s. And we'll talk a little bit about the reason for that, and how they can actually attract millennials and create a culture that I call the millennial mindset. If your company does not have the millennial mindset, if it's still an older, stodgy business, and you're doing everything the way you did it 25 years ago, the way your dad did it, things have to change. And if you're quoting your dad in the business, you're in trouble. Let me tell you. Okay. And you may not believe it, and that's okay. You can stay where you are at, and I'll talk to you in 5 years when you're doing something else. It won't be in the family business. Okay, so let's start with getting appointments. The way to get appointments today is not calling people and saying, hi, I'm Bill Jones, and we do this and that and this and that, and can I talk to the person who would be the decision maker for that? Because mostly the gatekeepers have been told, no, we're not interested. So you have to do some research and get to the gatekeeper. If get to the decision maker. If you get the gatekeeper, what you want to say today is you want to be more personable. Hi, this is Steve. I'm from Supreme Industrial. Mary, your job is probably to keep me from getting to the decision maker. And I don't want to get you in trouble. Is that your job? Yes. Okay. So if you were me, I have some important information. I've helped a few of your competitors. If you were me, how would you get to the decision maker? Because I think I can really help your company. I know I've helped XYZ and ABC. And you should have some names, real third-party stories, customers that you've helped in their industry. If you haven't, then you're really foolish. You're wasting your time. Don't bother doing it. I suggest making 5 calls before 9 and having maybe a total of 15 calls a day. And once you hit that 15, that's enough, because you get burned out. And first of all, you're going to call 15. You're only going to connect with 5 to 7. And some days maybe not even that many, and maybe another day you'll connect with 10, but your average connection is going to be 5 to 7. When you connect with a decision maker, you do it the same way. Bill, this is Steve from Supreme Industrial. I've helped companies like yours. They are boom, boom. And I thought you'd be interested in what we've done. Let's meet. I'd like to come in and meet with you next week on Tuesday. That's it. You ask for the appointment. And if they say, no, I'm busy, I'm not really interested, then you stop. Instead of saying, most salespeople say, okay, all right, Bill, sorry to bother you. What you say then is, Bill, I really have some great ideas to help you. And I think it's important we have an appointment. And I've helped, as I said, your competitors. Boom, boom, and boom. X, Y, and Z. Let's have an appointment. Now, if they continue to say no, okay, Bill, so should I call you in a month? Should I call you in 2 months? At least continue to keep the dialogue open and keep your foot in the door. A good book and a good trainer for appointment getting, who's really good at it, is Steve Schiffman. He's really good at it. And he has a book on appointment getting, and he has a book on questions to ask. And he's really, really good at it. So if you want reinforcement on that, get any book by Steve Schiffman. He's a great trainer. And if you want some coaching from me on it, just give me a call. I'm glad to coach you on the method. You want an appointment. And you should have third-party stories, true stories, where you've helped people in this company's industry, where you've helped their competitors. They're going to be interested. A number of them will be. I know it works. Okay. So in order to close more sales, you have to get to the pain that the person's feeling. Just as in the example of getting appointments, you have pain. You've uncovered pain. Just enough, because what you've said is, I've helped your competitors. What business owner or decision maker wants to let their competitors continue to have an edge or use an edge that they just gained from you? No one. No one. Not directly. Indirectly, if they didn't know about you, okay, so it's something they didn't know about, so it's not something they consciously missed. But no one would want to consciously pass up improve productivity, improve bottom line, a great idea that helps them with their customers. No one. So again, once you get the appointment, you have to have questions. Okay, so you gave me an appointment. Obviously, there was something I said about helping your competitors. You were curious enough to give me the appointment. Okay, so now I'm curious. What piques your interest? they'll say, well, I really want to know how you helped our competitors. Okay, so if I said we've helped your competitors with improving productivity or improving their satisfaction of their customers or improving their bottom line, which one would you want me to go to? Because I have third-party stories for all of them. So where would you want me to go is the question. Where do you want me to start? I want you to start with how you improve people's bottom line. Okay, great. Well, first, talk to me a little bit about your experience. I'm assuming you're profitable and you just want to add a point or two to your return on investment. Where are you at generally? And so what you want to do is not scare people to give you, let me have your last 3 years financial statements and let's look at your return on investment and your profit. And then let's look at industry averages. No, 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 no. It's way too much information. Generally, you want people to start to share their experience. And as they share the experience, you have more questions. So is this a trend that you've seen in the last 3 years? Is it something that you've seen declining return on investment and bottom line profits? Is it last 5 years? Is it only the last year or so? Let me know what have you been experiencing? Okay, so if I said, so you get the information, you're taking notes. If I said that there'd have to be a few changes, that's from my experience working with other companies, we had to help them make a few changes in the business. What's your experience around making a change? Well, if it's going to get me an improved bottom line, I'm making the change. Okay. All right. So let's suppose that you make the change and it's a fairly big change. Let's suppose. Does that scare everybody in the company? What was your last experience with a large change? So again, you want to have people understand that if you have a big change for them to make, let's say you're a software company. Right, I do some work with a company that does genome mapping. I mean, genome mapping is pretty sophisticated, right? And there are research labs and research universities that are using these products. It's a big change to change software. So you want to know if you're selling something that requires a big change, what was the last time they made a change and what happened? What was the impact? Okay, so if I had a process that helped you soften the impact of that change, would you be interested in hearing that? Okay, great. Again, you're getting to questions that help them understand. You want to help them hear whether they need you or not. That's really the new way of selling. It's the millennial way. Help people buy. Millennials aren't interested in hunting. They're really not. They can be farmers, but really they're interested in relationship, social media. Their job is to meet people and to bring them, the customer, along to the company, understanding how the company can help. Now, let's say you're selling a commodity and somebody hands you, so the guy ordering the product might be the decision maker. Just the guy, might be the janitor, might be the property manager, might be the environmental services director. A lot of people in the industry of products for buildings just get a quote. They get a quote, they get a list. Sometimes they get a list with pricing. So now they've trained the customer that if someone else comes in and has better pricing, that's how you change suppliers. You just get a list and you change pricing. Oftentimes when they get a quote, the customer, the decision maker is just going to take your list and bring it to someone else and say, match this, Joe. You've been with me for 10 years, and there's 3 things that are really bad, 2 things that aren't so bad. The rest you were pretty good on, and I'm going to let you leave it there. And so what's the existing supplier do? They match it. So when someone gives you a list and they ask you for a quote, don't run back to the office and say, boss, I got one. This is really looking good. I've watched salespeople for years, for over 30 years, spend all kinds of time on a quote. Software companies, service companies, and they haven't asked enough questions. Product companies, they haven't asked enough questions to find out, is this person serious? Do they have pain? The last time they switched, it might be a big deal if they're buying 70, 80, 100 items from a supplier. That might be a big deal. What about change? The last time they changed, what did it look like? Why did they change? So again, you have to prepare enough and have questions that help you get information from the prospect. And again, your goal is to help them hear whether they need you or not. And I know this from experience. I've closed multi-million-dollar sales many times, over 10 times. I don't want to brag, but over 10 times, and it's not brag, just fact, that started out with people at no, and or I helped them here in the beginning that they weren't sure whether they needed us or not. And in the end, they figured it out because we had a dialogue. We had a long enough dialogue to figure out whether we were a fit. And I even had people who initially weren't a fit. I gave them a few ideas about how they could buy better, and they came back, and that was over $2 million in sales. Three. I stand corrected. It was over $3 million in sales. 3 customers, over $3 million in sales, that initially was no. It wasn't a fit. And they came back. And I totally let them go. It's totally detached from the outcomes. That's a story. That's outcomes. Detaching from outcomes is another lesson. It won't be today. So, what is pain? Pain is the emotional reason that someone would change a supplier. The reason most sales prospects say, I'm happy, we're all right, we're not, there just isn't enough emotional reason for them to change. You have to it's your job to get them emotional. And there's a lot of keys that you can use to help them get emotional and or open up. So if somebody's like this, you're in trouble. Literally, you're in trouble. They're not ready to make a change. They're resistant. But you can work during what I call an adult conversation to get them to open up to where they share. So I had a conversation with people today, and I said, tell me about your experience. What's happening? What's going on? And they shared with me that they had a lot of challenges, that they needed help managing their sales force and changing direction and attracting new people. And so I said, well, I have a program called the Millennial Mindset. I haven't really tested it on anybody yet, but I have some ideas about it from watching all the hundreds of family-owned businesses and businesses that are having trouble. They have an aging sales force, and they're having trouble attracting millennials, younger people with enthusiasm and passion and curiosity. And it's an energy level. And mostly when I look at the company, it's even the employees in the company don't have an energy level that would support the millennial mindset. The culture has to get changed. And then starting with the end in mind, the picture that we want for the new, how the business is going to look to attract millennials, first the inside has to change. Support employees have to change. Then the millennials today like teamwork. They like team selling. So then a new structure has to be put in place where the experienced older salespeople are brought into the millennials' calls. And the millennials' job is to go meet people, get some catalogs out there, get some flyers out there, get some postcards out there, get back and meet people, go hang out where the customer hangs out, go join some associations. And again, the company's actually helping these people do this. And it's more fun than going to knock on doors and get rejected, which the millennials don't want. What they want to do is uncover things, kick the rock over, and then they want to bring it back to the company and go, hey, I need Joe to come with me, or I need Bill to come with me, or I need Steve to come with me, or I need Mary to come with me. This company has this, and this going on. And that's what you want to teach them. You want to teach the millennials to be kicking the rocks over. As they do that for 2 or 3 years, they'll become salespeople. And yes, they'll still be a different breed, because I believe with the use of the internet and the use of online ordering and connections like this, where you'll actually be communicating with someone to place an order, that the millennials will be happier inside 3 days a week or 2 days a week and outside 3 or outside 2. And again, someone's going to go with them. That's what you have to build. But it's a millennial mindset culture that you have to develop first before you hire millennials, because you'll scare them away. Your offices have to be attractive. They have to be clean. They have to have artwork. They have to have plants. You have to have social gatherings. This is what the millennial mindset is. Maybe a foosball table, a picnic table, a pinball machine. Again, you have to have a whole different culture than the old-fashioned industrial culture where people came in, sat behind a desk. The offices were crowded with samples and messy. And That's got to go away. And a lot of those cultures still exist, the classic industrial cultures, where the offices are messy, they're not attractive, and they wonder why they can't attract young people. They get poor energy. They come into the building and to the office and they get dragged down. The energy gets sucked out of them because it's a crappy office. It's a crappy environment. The other thing with millennials is you have to manage the culture. So most of the millennials have this immediacy. They've been given everything by their parents, and so they have this immediacy to wanting the income and the customers, and they have a tendency to have a lack of persistence and actually poor judgment on what would be a good customer or not, because they want it right away. They want to close it today, not tomorrow. So they don't spend any time developing a relationship. So they need help with that. The company has to help. Go with them, show them about persisting, show them about what looks to be a good customer, because you don't close everyone overnight. In fact, the customers that take a little longer to close stay around longer. The ones that jump from whoever they're with to you, will typically jump from you to someone else. You get what you give in life. Okay, so third-party stories. So how to close more sales is when you're in front of people, you want to determine, are they a good fit? Are they a good prospect? So who have they done business with? How long have they done business? How many times have they made changes? Typically, when an invoice is mailed to the company, how long does it take to pay? I mean, your boss might want 60 days. Some other companies are okay with 90 or 110. Some companies want 30 days. So again, based on what the boundaries are for your company, then you have to determine. That's how you build your questions, based around what's ideal for you. If your company has a minimum order, they want $150 in profit minimum, they want a $500 minimum order, whatever it is. Again, you have to find out, what's the order frequency? What's the average order size? Do you have a few invoices? You can line out you can close up, block all the line items. Let me see what the average invoice total is. Or you take a look and you tell me, share with me what the average order size is. So again, you have to have questions that help you determine as well. You have rights as a salesperson. Does this customer deserve my time? Is this customer a good fit for me? Or are they better off with the competition? Some customers are better off with the competition because of the level of service, what it takes to serve. And salespeople oftentimes are afraid to establish boundaries. Whatever reason, they're afraid to say no, or they're afraid to upset someone, or they're afraid to ask a direct question. I was with somebody 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I said to the guy, hey, we want the rest of your business. We want to get going on the rest of what you buy from other people. And he said, okay. I said, well, we're helping you with, do you agree with me that we're helping you with a lot of things that are probably nuisances to other suppliers? And he said, yeah. I said, so we're helping you with that. I want the other business. He said, yes. Because we had a leg to stand on and we had done things for him. So when you think of helping people buying, when you think of the challenges that every salesperson faces to break into new customers and to call on people, if you're using the old pitch method, and if you're talking so fast because you think you have the greatest thing since sliced bread, you've just shut off 50 to 60% of your prospects. So yes, you can succeed, but you're going to work a lot harder because you just talk too much. Who cares what you have to say? Really? At some point, you will present what about your company. The thing to get is that you only need to be presenting at that point what the customer asked you to address. So if you've asked the right questions, you now have a list of things that they've asked you to address. And when they say to you, all right, so how would you fix this? Then you still have another question. All right, I've got my ideas. Have you had some ideas about this? Have you asked other people about it? Have you got other people in the company helping you with this? Again, so you want to really understand that decision process. And then when they say, well, all right, let's suppose they say, well, we looked at this, this, and this, and we're considering that as a possible solution. Okay, so now you say, all right, we can do those things, but here's my experience with those things. If you have an experience with it, you tell a third-party story. Those three things, I've had different customers try each of those things. Here's what happened. Now you tell them the reason it didn't work. You challenge them a little bit. If you're reading books, you read the Challenger sale, because what you want to do is think of your communication as having a toolbox next to you, and you want to pick up certain things at certain times. You don't use a ratchet if you need a screwdriver. Same thing in selling. You wouldn't challenge somebody if they've got a great idea. Hey, that's a great idea, and we do it. Now you must have questions about how do we know we do it better than the three people you've talked to, right? Again, let them ask you. All right, so how do you do it better than the other three people? Well, what are some of the things that you liked about what they said? Give me the number one person. What did you like about what they said? What did you like about their solution? And I'll tell you if we've got it or if we're better. You see, so you're constantly working to get more information gently, not to upset people. I've never had any issue with it. When I teach this, people get scared and go, you can ask that many questions? If you understand, it's like tennis back and forth over the net. And if you understand, if you're present enough to watch people's body language, you'll know if you've made someone uncomfortable. If you do, guess what? An adult conversation is this. I think I just made you a little uncomfortable. I saw you shift. Is it me, or am I wrong about that, or did I make you a little uncomfortable? It's amazing that when you're in adult mode, you've helped them relax a little bit, because you're not pushing, you're not talking so much about how great your company is, how great you are. People are tired of that BS. That's used car salesmen. It's actually worse. Used car salesmen are getting better. They're getting better because they know people have shopped. They've looked around before they get there. They've gone on the internet. They've got ideas about what they want to buy. That didn't happen 10 years ago. It didn't happen, certainly didn't happen 25 or 30 years ago. It's happening more and more that they're going to the internet every month. Every month. It's just growing and growing. Look at the internet Cyber Monday. Sales were off the wall. So again, people are going to the internet. They're finding things without having to ask a salesperson. Selling is going to change, and if you don't change, you're going to get left behind. I know salespeople have never read. They got out of high school, they never read anything. Never. They've never listened to a CD because they got it. They know it all. Well, however they learned it, by the seat of their ass, the seat of their pants, they haven't changed anything. Now, some of that's a lack of intelligence, or it's fear of being more intelligent, or it's just laziness. It's just laziness. Don't be lazy, right? Don't be lazy. Challenge yourself to learn. Everyone's a little different. And if you're not noticing that, if you make it all about you, you're not going to close more sales. Make it about the prospect. You'll understand what to ask based on what you hear. I've said to people, you know what, from what I'm hearing, it doesn't sound like you're ready. It doesn't sound to me like you're ready to make a decision. Or you haven't talked about budget, or you really don't have enough pain yet to make a decision. It sounds to me like you like your current supplier, and you're not upset enough yet to change. And I've had people tell me, yes, you're right, we're not ready. Okay, so what should I do for follow-up? What's next? Should I bother? Talk to me. And they tell me. I left a meeting a little earlier where I said, geez, it doesn't sound like you're at that place where you're really ready to make a decision. Doesn't sound like you have room to bring somebody like me in for consulting, do a project. And they said, yeah, you know what, you're right. And I said, so what do we do next? Well, let's stay in touch. Why don't you stay in touch? Okay, what's that look like? Maybe a month. Okay. I left the meeting. We shook hands. 20 minutes later, I got a phone call saying, hey, by the way, there was two people in the meeting, and one of them called and said the guy was intrigued. and stay tuned. There's going to be a follow-up conversation. We know you can help us. We have a great sense of it. Yeah, because listen, I'm not going to engage with people who don't want to have me. I don't need it. I got plenty of people who I help. Uh, multi-million dollar companies. So let's see. Companies that are in the healthcare business selling delivery devices and chemotherapy devices doing 40, 50, 60 million dollars a year. And they have salespeople all over the country, and I help them. And I have another company who's doing 70, 80 million dollars a year. It's software sales, and they've got salespeople around the world, global, and I'm helping some of their leaders and eventually help. They just told me a couple of days ago that I'm going to be helping some of their salespeople in the Eastern United States to begin with. So I have people invite me to come speak. I don't need people who I have to drag to open their mind to learn and grow. And I can't imagine that it's fun to be stuck and or to have people looking at people who don't grow and kind of in amazement that they've got someone in front of them that still sells like somebody from 1950s or 60s. You know, if you're still bringing bagels and donuts, that's okay for an existing customer as a gift. But if you're trying to guess, like, hey, I'm going to ingratiate myself with people and do some silly tactic, it's crazy. It's nuts. It's not. That's 1950s selling. A gift is always good if you have done some research and maybe you've met the person on Facebook. You've gone and found their Facebook page and found out that they like, I don't know, the Red Sox, and you bring them a Red Sox hat. Hey, I see you're a Red Sox fan. That's good. But to just do something without research, I mean, what if you have someone that doesn't eat bagels anymore? They just lost 150 pounds because they cut out carbohydrates. These are all things that you have to be aware of. It's a new way of selling. Okay, so let's recap. To get appointments, you got to ask for the appointment, and you've got to have a third-party story and target people that you've helped. Target customers, target prospects that you've helped that now become your customers, and you can share that story. Questions. You have to have questions prepared. So once you get inside, you have to have questions prepared to help that prospect hear whether they need you or not. And you're paying attention. Do you need them? Are they a fit for you? It's a two-way street. You have rights as a salesperson. Like I said, I interview people. I want to make sure that people that are taking my energy and my research and my work and my efforts, they're going to use it and open up. I'm not going to pull them up the mountain. I'm not going to pull them up the mountain. We're going to walk up together. Pain. So you want to work on questions that'll help uncover pain, right? Yeah. You're not going to take quotes because you're going to say, whoa, quote. I really don't do quotes. Let's talk about it. Can I look at your top 5 items? Can we, why would you change? Are you unhappy with your current supplier? Why are you giving me a quote? You just want to compare it? It's okay, by the way, to say these things, to plant your feet and say these things. Millennials. If you're working to attract millennials, you have to change the culture of the company to have a millennial mindset. So you've got to loosen up the company. It's got to be more fun. It has to have an inside climate that is very passionate, energetic, supportive of them. Then you have to have them join some networking organizations to go meet people, and that's a 2-3 year return. I've had people tell me, wow, we've been a member of this group for a year. What did we get from it? Can I grab the list and start phoning everybody? No, it's ridiculous. It's a used car. It's stupid. So you've got to change the culture if you want to attract millennials first. Then you bring millennials in and you make it comfortable, right? So you bring them out to meet people. Once you teach them their job is to meet people, then you teach them their job is to bring the experts that have been in your company for 25, 30, 40 years. Now they bring the experts, and then gradually over time through osmosis, they learn. And don't forget, in 15 years, they're going to be the experts, and a whole new group of people are coming in. And their work today is going to be some inside and some outside because of this medium right here, this medium. The fact that go back 25 years ago, you'd have to be in my classroom to get this kind of information that I'm giving you. Okay, so I'm really grateful to do this work. I enjoy it. It enlivens me. And I've had a lot of people that I've helped, and I'm glad to give you third-party stories if you call me. Let's figure out if we're a fit. 917-805-1088. 917-805-1088. If you're not a fit for my work, I help you find someone that will help you. There's a lot of people, again, there's the investment of my time, so you're paying me, and a lot of people would like to have my time for less. So this is the only venue where you get my time for less. It's really a gift, and I'm grateful to help. And so 917-805-1088, or you can reach me at Steve, S-T-E-V-E, at Steve Lentini, L-E-N-T as in Tom, I-N-I.com. Steve at stevelentini.com. Have a good night. I'm grateful. Thank you.